meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 7 p.m. Mr. Withers, would you kindly do a roll call attendance?
I certainly will. Mr. Blair.
Here.
Ms. DeSimone.
Here.
Mr. Conti? Don't believe so. Mr. Waterman.
Here.
Vice President Jackson.
Here.
Mr. Delicio.
Here.
Mr. Kobus.
Here.
Ms. Dolan.
Here.
Ms. Reynolds.
Here.
Ms. Holmes. No.
Laura.
And President Cooper.
Here.
9 present, 2 absent. Mr. Conti and Ms. Holmes.
Thank you. Would you please stand and join me in a salute to the flag? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any questions or comments? We will be, the reason to suspend the rules tonight is we're taking things slightly out of order. One, to allow the Attleboro Public Library to present the Big Read initiative for this year, but also to, we will then go into the continued public hearing. We will recess for committee meetings, and then we will come back to the full council and do committee reports. Any questions? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Ms. Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds.
Here.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Kobus.
Yes.
Mr. Delicio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Here.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. We are now operating under suspended rules, and at this time, I would welcome the Attleboro Public Library Director, Amy Rillinger, and anyone else from the team. And Rusty, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Rusty Darconti. I've been asked to read a poem from this year's NEA Big Read selection, and it's called Honoring. Who sings to the plants that are grown for your plates? Are they gathered lovingly in aprons and arms? Or do they suffer the fate of the motor-driven whip of the monster reaper? No song at all, only the sound of money being stacked in a bank. Who stitches the seams in your clothing? One line after another. Is the room sweaty and dark, with no hour to spare? Does she have enough to eat? Does she have a home anywhere? Or does she live on the floor? And where are the children? Or is the seamstress the child, with no home of his or her own? Who sacrifices to make clothing for strangers in another country? And why? Let's remember to
Rusty, they can't hear you because the microphone, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you got to stand at the podium or they can't, or closer to it or they can't hear you.
You can hear me.
We can, I know, but nobody at home can.
Okay. Let's remember to thank the grower of food, the picker, the trucker, the sun and the rain. Let's remember to grow. Let's remember to thank each maker of stitch, any layer of pattern, the dyer of color, in this immense house of beauty and pain. Let's honor the maker. Let's honor what's made.
how to follow that, right? So this year's NEA Attleboro Big Read is An American Sunrise by the United States Poet Laureate, Joy Harjo. This year we were given 6 books to choose from. It's the smallest list we've ever had yet. They all had something in common with celebrating what it means to be American. And so another interesting thing about this year's Big Read is that the committee was unanimous in its choice to pick this book, and in particular to pick a book of poetry, which we've never done before. So our event, the poem that Rusty just read is going to be the inspiration for the Attleboro Arts Museum exhibit. That'll take place the 3rd week of September. And the rest of the book and the rest of the events have a lot to do with Joy Harjo's travels to revisit the land that her ancestors started out on. They were part of the Trail of Tears, and so they moved. She currently lives in Oklahoma. So it's really her revisiting her family ties and her experience in the United States. And as we know, a lot of us are revisiting history and learning things that we didn't know before. So there'll be a lot of that in the events this year, and just a lot of paying attention to our senses and observation and trying poetry for the first time. We know that many people are very skeptical of poetry, and so we are going to make it as fun and entertaining for everyone as you can. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the events. We'll have the launch on September 8th, where we will have community members reading their favorite poems. So folks throughout Attleboro have been invited to come and read a poem that they wrote or just a poem that they love. I can assure you it will be everything from Shel Silverstein to Shakespeare. So it's always interesting. If you don't like poetry, it's really interesting to hear what other people what poetry speaks to them. There will be an exhibit of poetry written by Attleboro students. We'll be giving away the books. We'll have poetry activities, like games you can play. And then the following week, September 18th, will be the kickoff at the Attleboro Arts Museum. And then on Wednesday night, September 22nd, Joy Harjo herself will visit us virtually. So this is really exciting for us. Like I said, she is the first Native American poet laureate the United States has ever had. She was just given a 3rd term. She is only the 2nd poet laureate that has been given that honor. She is currently mapping poems by Native Americans across the country, which is an interactive exhibit. So we're super excited about that. On top of that, lots of nature-themed things. You all have on your desks a recycled clay pot. I'm supposed to tell you this is biodegradable string and some native wildflower seeds. These packages were put together by Kathy Garapi of the Attleboro Garden Club, and she's doing a program for us as well. So please bring these home, grow your own wildflowers, and think about. So 2 organizations, the Land Trust and Oak Knoll, are doing poetry walks, a poetry scavenger hunt. So I could be here all night, but I won't be. So lots of events. We'll be sending out the flyer. And then lastly, I just wanted to thank Attleboro. This is our 15th community read, 14 of which have been funded by the NEA, the National Endowment for the Arts. It's really important for people to know that this is a competitive grant. It's not ever guaranteed. This year we were given $20,000, which is the most the NEA has ever offered. And we are one of very few communities that were given the full amount. It is Attleboro's biggest amount, but one of very few communities that were given that amount. And that is because of the amazing amount of collaboration that goes into the planning of all these events. And they'll happen through September and October. And this really is just my invitation for you all to come and take part in any small or big way. I mean, we don't expect everyone to read every book that we offer cover to cover. We love it when you do. But just reading one poem, coming to one event, you'll be surprised at the connections that you can make in the community. So,
great.
Thank you. Amy?
So here you go. You're going to be hearing American Sunrise a lot from the library in the next few weeks. So bear with us as we put the final touches.
Great. So congratulations on the continued success of this program, and I don't know if anybody has any questions. Councilor DeSimone?
Very quickly, if I may. First of all, great job, Rusty, on the poem. And Amy, kudos to you and the library board and the Friends of the Library and your staff and your volunteers for continuing to do an exceptional job, going back to Walter. And the APEL is just amazing, so thank you for all your great work in the community. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Amy, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks for letting me have your time.
Congratulations on the grant.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a big achievement.
Mr. Withers, at this time, would you read the notice for the continued public hearing this evening?
Yes, it's a public hearing waiving the building permit fees associated with the development of 37 Union Street.
Thank you. Anyone here to speak in favor? There's Jack. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm great, thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. It's really good to see you all live and in person again after our long nightmare. And I want to thank you, President Cooper, for allowing me to go to my zoning hearing in Mansfield on Tuesday night and be here tonight. By the way, the scaffolding will be coming down on the library starting tomorrow, and the project should be done hopefully around the time that all the things Amy talked about are going to take place. So we're excited about that, and another hat I wear. But with regard to this project, there's Eliza Data, who is one of the principals of the firm that's developing the old Foster building. And so we have taken this project a long way so far. We have gotten permits from the Zoning Board and the Conservation Commission. We are just about in the position to get our building permit. We have a short PowerPoint that we're going to show you that will reorient you to the project. But the cost of the building permit is $200,000, and we're asking you to waive $100,000 of that. And we'll show you why in the PowerPoint and talk about this a little bit more. But the price of everything in building has gone up enormously. And so that has caused some problems with the budget that Eliza is going to talk to you about. This will be 59 units of what we call workforce housing. It's all subsidized, and I think it's going to be a great project for downtown Attleboro. So Eliza, do you want to take over from there?
Sure. Thank you, Jack. I'll do the check first. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. So thank you to the council for making time for us tonight and for hearing our request. My name is Eliza Data. My company is E3 Development, and I'm one of the developers of the 37 Union Street project, along with Affirmative Investments, and the owner, Bob Jones of GAM Realty, who may be represented in the room tonight by Bob Podatek. I'm not sure if he's here. But anyway, we're here tonight, as Jack mentioned, to request a partial waiver of the building permit fee. The reason, as Jack stated, is that our costs, unfortunately, have escalated significantly, and we have a significant gap that is standing between us and closing and starting construction on this important mixed income project. We've been talking to a number of our financing partners about how to close the gap, and as part of that, we are coming back to you, the city of Attleboro, to see if you can help provide an additional local match. And I'd like to just take a few minutes to provide some context on the project for those of you who may not be familiar with the details, and then we can dive into the numbers piece. So I am hopefully going to share my screen here. And I am hoping now that everyone can see a PowerPoint. So if somebody could just give me a thumbs up or something.
Yeah, we can,
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, okay. Great, thank you. So So the 37 Union Street project is part of a larger master plan that involves several properties along Union Street. The image that you're looking at now shows two of them, 37, the red brick building, and then also 61 Union Street, the white building. These are both owned by Bob Jones. And in fact, he's expanded his holdings along Union Street by acquiring the adjacent property, 15 Union Street. And he has a plan to redevelop all of this site, which is such a great location right downtown Attleboro, close to the MBTA station. And I think consistent with a lot of the other investments that the city is making. It's a group of historic structures. And so as part of the project, we've been learning about the history of what the historic records call the buildings, the Robinson buildings, the 37 Union. I know locally they're also known as the Foster building, but this is an image that our historic consultant provided that shows what the cluster of buildings looked like 100 years ago. And we've used these images and history of the building to help get approvals for some historic tax credits that are going to help us as part of the redevelopment, restore some of the really cool historic details of these buildings. This next slide gives you kind of an overview of the master plan, including that additional site on Union Street. The first phase of a master plan can always be the toughest. So our 37 Union Street project as phase one has required a lot of investment, but we think it's going to unlock the value of the site and unlock other opportunities for the downtown. So that's the 59 unit apartment building that Jack mentioned. The next phase would be another residential development of the 61 Union Street property here on the left, in combination with a restoration of the old central plant building on the site, which we would look to use as common amenity space for the community. And then finally, phase three contemplates adding some new retail space at the corner of Park and Union. Here's just a rendering of what the finished product for 37 Union should look like after we've installed all the historically accurate windows and cleaned up the brick and added some new entrances and landscaping. So we're really looking forward to getting to this outcome. And then finally, here's a little bit more information about what the project's going to provide. So we're transforming this former manufacturing building into apartments. We'll have 59 units in total, a mix of studios, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. And it's been structured as a true mixed income community, serving a broad range of incomes with different tiers as defined by the area median income. So we've got units and rents set to serve households as low as the 30% of area median income range, which would target households earning in the high teens to the mid 20s, all the way up to 100% of area median income, which kind of serves more of the workforce tier, earning between 60 and the mid 80s in terms of an annual income. You can also see on this slide the anticipated rents for each of those tiers. And I think certainly our market studies have shown, but I think you will also find that these rents will be very attractive to a number of community members in Attleboro, especially considering how rents have been rising in the community and all the market rate projects that are coming online. It's probably also worth noting here that because we've committed to affordability with this project, we don't have the option of raising rents to address some of the financing challenges that we're facing right now. And so we need to rely on all of our financing partners. So to finance a project like this takes time and a good bit of money. Our total development costs are over $28 million now. And to help pay for all of the improvements we're talking about, we've had to tap a number of sources, and some of these are competitive funding sources that we've had to apply for. And so we're pleased that we were successful in securing these sources and able to bring them to downtown Attleboro. But the list that you see here includes a commitment of a construction loan from Citizens Bank, We've got a permanent loan and some workforce housing funding from Mass Housing, which is the state's housing finance agency. The city of Attleboro made a significant commitment of CDBG funds that helped us leverage the state funding that we needed. So we're very appreciative of that. The money from the state comes through the Department of Housing and Community Development, and they've awarded a combination of loan funding, so that alphabet soup you see listed on this bullet point, some of the programs that we've tapped, as well as housing tax credits. And we've gotten both state and federal housing tax credits from the state. And combined, all of this DHCD funding represents about $16 million of investment. And then also, as I mentioned, the historic credits. So you can see that we have a lot of financing partners, and we've pieced together a number of sources to make all of this work. And then finally, just to dig into the details a little bit more, this is a summary that I believe has also been shared with you, but I'm happy to get into it in more detail and answer any questions. But it gives you a snapshot of where our budget was when we received our funding award from the state last year and where we are today. And at the top on the cost side of the equation, you can see that the most significant driver is in the construction category. We've seen cost escalation as a result of the pandemic and supply chain breakdowns and material cost escalation. We've all heard about some of these issues on the news. And then the higher construction costs have also, they have trickle-down effects. They increase the need for contingency and soft costs and some of our financing costs as well. But other costs where we could, we've held constant. But the challenge for us has been that combined, these increases have left us with a $2 million gap on the project. So we've been working on a number of fronts to figure out ways to close that gap. And the budget that you see on the sources side shows how we think we can get there. And I've provided some of the detail on the different sources and the different ways, the additional funding that we've found to bring in to get us to a balanced budget, which in turn will get us to a closing. So they include some additional equity funding from our equity partner that's buying the credits. The state has conditionally approved $300,000 in additional housing credits, which will leverage more than $1.2 million in additional equity for us. So that's very important. And then also significantly, the owner has agreed to defer more than $500,000 of acquisition fees and developer fees to get us there. What we are requesting from the city tonight is consideration of a partial waiver of the building permit fee that's part of the local match to go along with these other resources and will get us there. It's the final step to get us there to a rebalanced budget. We do have a locked-in construction price with our contractor now, I'm pleased to say, and we are hoping to start construction in August. But we also know that if our closing is delayed, we may risk further escalation, which would be discouraging at this point. So I know I've gone on for a while. I will pause and hope to answer any questions you have, but we really do appreciate your consideration of this request.
Thank you. Jack, I just have one question quick, and then Council Kopos, I saw your hand. The $28 million construction cost is just for 37. Is that right?
That is correct.
Thank you. And then in terms of the developer that's doing this project, is the intent to keep this building through the 3 phases? Is it, and then what's the sort of long-term strategy for the ownership and oversight of the property?
I know that Mr. Jones, who owns basically the whole block, except for the building with a couple of restaurants, the old Ashley building and the Doctor Medical building. He owns the whole thing. It's his intention to see this through and develop all of it. I do know that he's a little bit up there in age, might be a few years older than I am. And so at some point, it would probably be sold or passed on to his other family members. Eliza, do you have any further information on that?
I don't have anything additional, no.
So, but he does intend to see this thing through and to develop all three phases of it. And there would be 60 units of similar kind of housing in the southern piece, where Composite Technical Alloys, or whatever it was called, because it changed its names 100 times, that building is. And then for the third phase, to do the retail up front, where the Sun Market, there's a Chinese restaurant that used to be there, there was a nail place. Those buildings would be coming down and something new would be constructed there.
Okay, great, thank you. Council Kovas.
Yes, thank you. And I just had a quick question. Can you help me understand what's meant by developer fees, and then what do you mean by owner deferral of acquisition and developer fees? That was the one piece I didn't quite understand.
I think Eliza might be better able to answer that, but the developer does get a fee for their work in coordinating the whole project. But Eliza, can you give some more detail on that?
Sure, yeah. So just as Jack said, the state under their tax credit program allows a developer fee that is meant to compensate the developer for their kind of time and risk involved. And so the developer fee that we show kind of follows the guidelines that the state lays out. The acquisition fee relates to the contribution of the building and land to the project. And so that's a project cost that that ordinarily the seller, in this case Bob Jones and Dam Realty, would be reimbursed for, but he's deferring a portion of that reimbursement.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Councilor Waterman and then DeSimone.
Yes, Eliza and Jack, I want to commend you on your really taking into account the lower income and moderate income people in Attleboro. This is very impressive to me. If you want to respond in any way as to what made you want to go so far in that direction, I appreciate knowing it. And also, how many bedrooms?
Sure, I'll take that one, Jack. So the income mix that we settled on, comes from a combination of factors. We looked at the market and where the need is, but also it aligns with both the city and the state's priorities to provide more affordable and more deeply affordable housing. So we were guided by both of those priorities. In terms of the unit mix within the building, we have a range of unit sizes, and if I can pull up, I don't have it in front of me, but we have 4 studios, I believe it's 20-something 1-bedrooms, and then the balance are 2 and 3 bedrooms in the property. So there will be kind of a full range of unit types within the building.
So this is meant to cover families in a very different way than some of the other projects that are being proposed downtown or other places in the city are. 3 bedrooms is a place where you can actually have some children. Certainly not in a studio, but that's a very small number. So this is a very different mix, and it's trying to fill a need in the city. A number of my other clients have all put up buildings downtown or are about to. Those are at market rents, which are much, much higher than these rents here. Those developers are not asking for anything from the city. They are simply saying, we'll do what the market can do. But one of the interesting things about this is to leverage that much money of state money They require the city to have some skin in the game. And so the mayor cooperated with us originally to get that $295,000 of CBDG funds, if I use the right initials. And that really got the project off the ground. But this $2 million funding gap is really what caused the problem. The price of steel is up 185%. The price of lumber is 125%. So there's been some effects of the pandemic that no one really understood. And we would like to begin this project at the end of August. And Eliza, are we looking at 18 to 24 months for build out?
No, quicker than that. We're looking at a 13-month construction schedule. So we would be delivering next fall.
So that is just a different project than the type of project where the people are commuting to Boston with enormous incomes and they move out as soon as they have a family. This is a very different kind of project, if that answers your question.
That very well answers.
Any additional questions of Council Dolan? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Councilor
all right.
Diesel, go ahead.
Mine is short. Eliza, what happens if you don't get it? What is your plan B?
If the waiver isn't approved, we would have to go back to the other financing partners and understand if we could ask for additional funds.
And the odds of success of that, were you to have to do so? Do you have any idea?
It's hard to say. I mean, I know that everyone who's on that list of financing partners has been very involved with us and helpful in trying to help us solve this issue. They want to see the project go forward, but they've also made significant contributions already. So I guess I can't put odds on it.
Thank you,
Sorry.
President.
One of the other things, Counselor, that I understand is important is that the contractor's price is good until the beginning of September, but with the escalations that are going on in the marketplace, if we don't start at the end of August, we could end up with a further funding gap. So I don't mean to give you the rush here. It's not my intention, but I just want you to understand that this is late-breaking news. And with this, with the contractor redoing the price and then saying they'll hold it to the end of August, that puts us in a bind. We might be able to go back to the other partners and we might be able to raise some additional funds, but then the gap is going to grow because the contractor's not going to hold his price. So we're in a bit of a dilemma and we're asking you for help.
Council Dolan.
Thanks. So this is solely for 37, correct?
Correct.
And is the other building going to be mixed rate as well, or is it going to be market rate?
I believe our intention is to do the same type, Eliza?
Yeah, we haven't made a final determination on that, but we'll do the same kind of approach in terms of assessing the market and trying to look at where the need is. And if the building like 37 needs additional resources because of its historic nature, then I think it could be a good fit for some of the historic credits and the housing credits that we're using at 37.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilor Delissio.
Thank you, President Cooper. Thank you for the presentation tonight, Jack. Always good to see you. A question I have is, have you talked to, building off Councilor DeSimone's question, my concern is really what kind of precedent is this going to set? $100,000 when you're looking at a $2 million deficit isn't a lot, but from our perspective, $100,000 coming out of a pandemic is a lot. Have you had conversations already with the funding partners to talk about this?
Yes.
Sorry, is that question for me?
Yes, and that's how that page, that the last page or next to last of the thing came up, is that we scrimped and scrimped to get this thing done in a very short period of time. And, you know, I mean, we're always concerned about precedent, But it seems to me that every project and everything you decide is a one-off to me. It's based on what your best judgment is at the time, your best judgment of where the taxpayers would be served in Attleboro. And so I would suggest that half of the building permit fee would not affect the building department's ability to do their inspections. And the fact that we're having a $28 million investment here, I think the city will reap the tax benefits of the higher assessment over a very long period of time. So I think there are countervailing factors here, but I certainly appreciate your concern, and you don't want every developer for downtown but to come and ask you for money, but this is not a market rate project, and that's, to me, that's the biggest distinction here, is that this is something that working families will be able to afford. And of course, our master plan is to bring as many people as we can downtown, because we hope that they will then spend money at restaurants and dry cleaners and bakeries and the rest of those things that we hope will follow. So it's all part of our master plan, and it's very different, because most of my clients are people with lots and lots of money who charge market rent, and this is different, very different. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does, and if I may, sure. I think the other concern I have is, you still have a couple of the other properties that you want to build. Would we be back here? And it's more of a rhetorical. I'm not looking for anyone to be a soothsayer, but, are we going to be back here when the next building comes up with, hey, can we waive these fees because of this and that? So I'm just a little concerned. So I'm going to review the deck. If the deck's been sent, I'm going to review that and, follow up with questions that I might still have. Because we certainly want to be able to help out the developer. I understand what you're saying about, we all talk about developing downtown. Here's an opportunity in front of us. We just need to make sure that we're doing our due diligence.
Absolutely. I wouldn't expect anything other from you or any other counselor here. $100,000 is a significant sum of money to most of the people who live in Attleboro. And we recognize that, no doubt about it. And we haven't done the financing for the next phase, and we don't know what that will bring. I can tell you that the third phase up front is retail, so that's going to be a market project for whatever the market will bear for downtown Attleboro retail at the time. But certainly the second phase, we're giving a serious look to, again, some kinds of subsidized rents, and a project that will both be a credit to the city but also be filling a need that is just not filled at all right now.
Jack? Jay, did you have another?
No, okay. Just thanks, Jack.
Jack, do you have any insight into the assessed value of that 37 Union Street today?
Well, it's, what the value is today? I don't know that, but I can find that out tomorrow and send an email to Virginia and let her know.
And it would be helpful for me to understand in 13 months what the assessed value will be when it's done.
Yeah,
I know it has incremental increases as the project continues, and it's based on timing, but for me, and I think for the community, it would be helpful to understand what a $28 million development in the city does to the change in the delta in the taxes for that particular property.
And that's a very good question, and I have to say that I was a little bit asleep at the switch and not anticipating that. So, but if you give me till tomorrow morning, I
sure, no
get
problem.
that information.
No problem, Council Kovas.
Along those lines, and I believe Catherine Farrick is online and will be available to answer questions. But if she does have some of the questions, I'd like to know is the impact was it the HDIP, the Housing Development Incentive Program, where we defer increases, as well as the DIF, the District Improvement Financing, and with regard talking about the impact to the levy, how those programs would come into play with this development. But I'll ask that of Catherine Farrick when she comes on. But if she doesn't answer those, I'd love to get an answer.
I'm going to defer that to Eliza, but I don't believe we're applying for HDIP credits, are we, Eliza?
Did not.
We are not for this project. We don't actually, well, qualify for this project.
My guess is that when the state gives you that low interest financing for the workforce housing, they probably don't allow you to double dip on another project. I can't tell you for sure, but that sure seems logical to me.
Makes sense.
So, that's our presentation. I understand, Catherine might be on, and
Oh,
Gary,
I'm sorry,
you're raising.
Jack, 1 second. Council has a question.
Counselor, sorry.
Jack, there's no TIF on this at this
Nope.
point.
There is none.
There is none.
No.
So the city will be getting the full tax and evaluation of that building when it's complete.
That is correct. And just to correct you on one thing, Councilor, a TIF is when, as I understand it, is when you're creating jobs, and so you get a tax incremental
I know,
financing.
Jack, but-
HDIP, which Councilor Kovas was talking about, is for housing, but it's a very similar kind of program.
And there's none of that.
None of that. So we're not asking for a tax break over the next 20 years. We're asking for some money up front.
Thanks, Jack.
So,
Thanks, Jack.
thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? Is there anyone else here to speak in favor?
Hey, this is Paul Harrell.
Oh, hi, Paul.
Hey, guys. Are you guys ready to hear my brief comments?
Sure.
Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Yep.
Okay, very good. So I want to just weigh in very quickly and briefly on this matter. This is a project that I support. It started in April or May of 2018, and Eliza Data, all of her partners, they've been fantastic to work with. This $100,000 is something that we can afford. It basically would come out of our free cash. It would just be $100,000 less of free cash that we have when that's certified, basically about a little over a year from now. And it's money that is well spent on this project. The main reason I wanted to come on, though, is to address what Councilor Delisio had mentioned, which is what kind of precedent would this set? And quite honestly, it's not going to set any precedent because there is no other project really like this. The downtown revitalization, something I campaigned on. It's something that you all have supported, and it's different than other projects in that this particular one, as Jack and Eliza noted, this is a project that's going to address low-income housing, and it's affordable housing for people. So if anybody else were to come to me, another developer were to come to me and say, "Hey, Paul, you supported, $100,000 waiver, a 50% waiver for the project at 37 Union Street on the building fee. Can you do that for us?" And I would basically say, no. It's you treat everyone the same by treating everyone different. This particular project, is different than all the other projects. If somebody were to come and ask for a building permit for a housing development, I would say no. It's not something I campaigned on. It's not something as part of our collective effort to revitalize the downtown. If somebody were to come and ask me for a building permit waiver or reduction for a business going in South Attleboro, I'd say no. That's South Attleboro is booming. They don't need help to develop that. But this, Eliza Data and her partners, they have the owners of this, Bob Jones and Bob Kodatek. Bob Jones is the owner. They're putting up a lot of money. This is a real rare opportunity for us to really turn around the Union Street district. And, as they've very clearly explained, this is something that will help sort of grease the rails with other investors in the project, including the state, because this is basically a local match to us. But to Councilor Delisio's point, what kind of precedent would this set? It's not setting any precedent because I'm saying it right now. I wouldn't support other projects, unless they were exactly the same conditions as this. So having said that, if I'm open for ideas, and I think Eliza Data, Bob Jones, Bob Kodatek, they're open for ideas too. If there's another way the city can help offset $100,000 to their expenses, let's talk about those ideas. Otherwise, when the time comes and, if the council were to decide to grant this waiver, it's just going to be $100,000 less of free cash that we're going to have. No city department is worse off because of this. We're not taking money away from any other city department. It's money that is, like I said, we get anywhere from $4 to $6, $7 million in free cash. $100,000 is something we can afford. So with that, I hope you will support this waiver so they can get to work on this project as soon as possible. Yeah, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the mayor? No, I don't see any. Thanks, Paul.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Good night. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? Is Catherine on? I don't want to go to opposed if she's on.
Hi.
Oh.
Hello, this is Catherine. I apologize, I was on mute.
No problem.
Yes, I thank you all for having me today. I did send a letter detailing my support for the project. I also included some documents that I had requested from the development team, as well as some of the questions and answers that I'd exchanged, because I thought that it would help you all to make a better decision if you kind of saw how my mind was working when it comes to this project, and if you saw some of the numbers on your own. So I was really happy to hear a lot of the questions that have been asked tonight, because they were speaking just to some of the numbers that we saw on the screen. So and those are exactly the kinds of questions that you should be asked about this. From my angle, I do support this project. This is one of those situations where everybody's having to take another haircut. It's just sometimes that happens, and particularly in this economy, because things have shifted so dramatically one direction than the next. It's been an incredible journey to get us this far on this project. They've gone back to all their other funders seeking additional tax credits, additional equity, additional support. So, the city, the reason why this particular mechanism was proposed is because, number one, with the acquisition of the entire site and predominantly that retail portion for the phase 3, CDBG funds from the city were used for that segment of it. So we couldn't really return to the CDBG. And there are a limited number of tools for these types of projects. If you're doing a market rate project, just like Todd had suggested, you can use HDIP potentially, issuing a tax increment exemption at the local level to be matched with state tax credits. And I say potentially because there are even some challenges on the state end of financing those projects these days, because they're well oversubscribed in the tax credits, which is affecting our projects and projects across the Commonwealth right now. So HDIP isn't available to this project, but we looked into that. Not into HDIP directly, but we looked into CDBG funding. We looked into other sources that the city could potentially provide, such as, for example, in-kind labor for surrounding, effects on infrastructure and situations like that. This method was chosen because it was something that was easier for the city to tolerate. It didn't detract from city services in any manner, which, in-kind services would necessarily detract some of our employees' efforts from one project to this one. So there were a number of reasons why we settled on it. But I did want you all to have the additional information to supplement your decision tonight. I personally am in support of this just because it's one of those, we're almost there, and this is probably the only project, at least before autumn now, because of the state issues that I mentioned with HDIP. This is probably the only project before autumn, and maybe even until next year, that we're going to see break ground in the city. So because I understand how challenging things have been and how quickly they've changed, when you're this close to the goal line, you never know what's going to happen the next month, the next 2 months in the market. So when we're this close and we have this small a gap to fill, I'm in support of this.
Thank you, Catherine. Council Kobus?
Excellent. Thank you, Catherine. And the one question that I was still looking for the answer for was, does this fall within the TOD? I think it does. And then would it be impacted by the district improvement financing, the DIF?
Yeah, it actually is not in the TOD. The TOD starts with Wall Street, and it goes to Olive Street, and it's bounded by the train tracks on the one side and Riverfront Drive on the other. So this is outside by about a block and a half of the DIF. So unfortunately, we don't have access to DIF as a resource for this either.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any additional questions for Catherine at this time? Great, Catherine, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? Jim, is there anybody else online?
There is not.
Okay, great. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone to speak in opposition? Anyone here for neither for nor against? Anyone here neither for nor against? Seeing none. Is this in you? No, it's in yours.
I do not see a need to keep it open.
Thank you. That public hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Good night.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
At this time, I'd entertain a motion to recess.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Conti? I'm sorry, Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Jeez. Vice President Jackson?
Yes.
Ms. Silicio?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
President Cooper?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. We are recessed at 7:52 for committee meetings. You're up first.
Okay, thank you. Reporting for Public Safety Emergency Management, call a committee to order at 10 minutes to 8. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve the expending of funds and any future grant amendments for the FY 2021 Student Awareness Fire Education SAFE Grant and FY 2021 Senior SAFE Grant from the Commonwealth of Mass from approximately $9,260 to the Attleboro Fire Department.
Second.
I'm looking for Mark, and that's me. This particular grant, we get most every year.
Yep.
It's an ongoing situation. There's no matching funds from the city, and it's used quite well at the senior center for the seniors, keep them aware, and also student awareness of fire situations. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $26,000 from account 1124100-578300 citywide reserve fund for transfer to the following: for uniforms and medical exams for 13 firefighters. $16,000 to account 1220100-530104 fire medical consultations, and $10,000 to account 1220100-558310 fire uniforms.
Second.
This is pretty self-explanatory. We got firefighters coming on. They need to have physicals tested, and we have to support them with uniforms and gear. So it's pretty self-explanatory. If we want to keep that staffing up on the fire department, we've got to put people on.
Yep.
That I'm glad to see. Any comments from my committee?
And I don't have any comments regarding this except for a question. Do you know, with these 13 new firefighters, what does that do for our staffing level? Does that, we can discuss it I talked to Chief LaChance earlier today, and I forgot to ask about this, but do you know if what that does to our per shift numbers?
To be honest with you don't. You know, we
I
got
can follow up with
this
Chief
Tuesday, we got this Tuesday night, and
Fair enough.
it seemed like a no-brainer to me. You know, as far as
The motion
need.
itself is straightforward.
And
Okay,
I'm
thank you.
sure we're all in unison as far as we need more people over there.
Perfect.
You know, we got to get that staffing up, so hopefully we can reduce some of the, I feel, unneeded overtime, so.
Exactly my thoughts.
You know?
Yep.
So we got to get the staffing up, and this is part of getting the staffing up. Any questions from my other councilors? Mr. DeLisio.
Thank you. It's more of a comment, as just reading from the memo from the chief. It says, as we've previously discussed, maintaining staffing levels at 72 to 80 will significantly reduce overtime. In order to increase staffing levels, we'll initiate the process to hire 13 with the anticipated start date of October 1st, 2021. This will allow us to maintain staffing levels and reduce overtime. So
He evidently feels this will help him increase his staffing level.
which in turn is going to help us with overtime. Presently, the department has 62 firefighters. So this will help us get closer to that 72 to 80.
Perfect. Do we have any other questions from my other council members? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve the expending of funds and any further grant amendment for the anticipated FY21 9/11 trading grant from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security for approximately $304,879.01 to the Attleboro Police Department.
Second.
This is also a non-matching grant. There's no city money involved. And we've been fortunate right along to get this grant, and it helps with the training, especially our dispatchers and that end of it, so. We've got some great people writing these grant applications because we've been very, very fortunate over the years.
Bless you.
To be getting these grants, so. Any questions on this? My committee first, and the rest of the council? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Call to adjourn at 7:55.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
I would like to call the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee together at 7:58. And I would like to invite our guest, Heather Whitehead, if you could come to this stand for a moment. Before I give a motion, I'd like to suggest that we allow Heather an opportunity to introduce herself. Heather has made a request to the city and to the mayor's office to serve on the planning board. And Heather, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And
Heather Whitehead, 1350 Park Street.
Yeah. Okay. And how long have you lived in Attleboro?
I have been in Attleboro 20 years now.
20 years? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so would you be willing to share some of your background that leads you to this and why you're interested in this position?
Sure.
Thank you.
I am a wife and a mom. I have 2 children, a son and a daughter. And I also am the Girl Scouts of Attleboro Service Unit Manager. That means that I look over the 13 troops that we have here in Attleboro and am the go-between them and the council, which is through Rhode Island, Girl Scouts of Southeastern New England. And I also am a volunteer for the soup kitchen. And the reason that I'm volunteering to be on the planning board is to be more involved here. I actually grew up in Cumberland and lived there for the first 20-some years of my life, and then married my husband, who is Attleboro native. He was born and raised here, and so we moved here, and I, besides Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, I haven't really been all that involved in too much of the town. And at home in Cumberland, my family was very involved. My father was on the city council and the planning boards at different times through his time there. So it's an interest to me. I definitely don't know everything, but I'm interested in learning everything and willing to learn everything. I'm somebody that puts everything into everything that I do, so I'm willing to learn and be a part of the town.
Can I do one follow-up, and then I'll open this to the committee? Was there anything particular about the planning board that appealed to you in a way to serve as opposed to all the other boards and commissions we
I
have?
did look at all the boards that had
Yes.
volunteer positions open, but this one is most interesting to me because of my background from Cumberland and watching what my dad did. My parents were divorced, and I lived with my father, so I went to a lot of those meetings with him and heard a lot of what was going on. I also have a husband that is in building and contracting, or was. He's fully disabled now, but he was in it. So to me, this is more interesting than some of the other boards, and it's something I feel like my heart is in because of all the building that's going on in town and the green spaces, and it's just something I'd be more interested in than, say, the Council on Aging or something like that.
Okay, thank you. I would like to open this up to the committee members and then to the entire council for questions. Councilor Blair.
Just a quick one. Do you have an opinion on residential development in Attleboro?
I don't have an opinion one way or other. I'm always a person that if you ask anybody, especially, because I'm closest with my Girl Scout group right now, but if you asked anybody, I'm kind of I listen to both sides type person, and I definitely, before I make any decisions, am somebody that has to hear everything out. So do I have a for or against building? I don't.
Some people have a pre-idea.
No, I don't think I do. I don't think I have a pre-idea on so much of whether to build or not to build, if that's what you're asking me. I'm a person that kind of looks at more what we have available. Do we have the spaces that we need for, green spaces? Do we have the homes that we need for people to come and live here and be able to go and work?
Okay, so, all right, we'll go from there. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Sarah, perhaps you have a question? I don't know. Not at this time. Are there other questions? Councilor Dole.
Thank you. I've known Heather for a couple years now, and we met through the community. No other way, just community events. And we hit it off the second we spoke, and I know everything that she's done with the Girl Scouts. She doesn't stop, really, so I'm not sure how she's going to have time, but I've seen her work. She's a great person. She's an asset to the community, and I think she would be an asset to the planning board as well, and I think she would be very fair-minded.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilor.
Hi, Heather.
Hi.
I just want to say thank you for being willing to volunteer and serve on any board or commission in the city. They're all important, so thank you for being willing to do so.
Thank you.
Anybody else? We will be voting on a motion. If you would like to go back to your seat, and we'll pursue this.
Thanks, Heather.
You feel free to stick around. So from the docket of August 17th, 2021, I would entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Heather Whitehead, 1350 Park Street, to fill an unexpired term on the planning board, term to expire February of 2023.
Second.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion on this motion? None? I will say that I had a good opportunity over the phone to talk with Heather, and she strikes me as a very concerned citizen who will do her utmost to do the best job she can, and I do believe she'll listen to all sides on this issue, on various issues. And ultimately, we all have to make a decision, yay or nay, on whatever it is, but we have to listen first. So with that in mind, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 I do not hear any opposition. Passes in the committee 3-0. Thank you. And moving along from the docket of August 17th, 2021, I would entertain a motion to accept the donation of $1,000 in Stop and Shop gift cards from VFW Post 115 to the Veterans Office.
Second.
Thank you. This is extremely generous in my mind. Is there any questions or discussion on this?
They have a limited source of income, so $1,000 coming from that organization, they reached down.
They really did.
To bring it forward, and I kudos to them, and I congratulate them for their generosity.
Agreed. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And passes 3-0. And we'll move along. I would entertain a motion to strike the following from the docket of July 20th, 2021. I entertain a motion to confirm, this is to strike, a motion to confirm the appointment of Sandy Carter Brown of 21 Revere Terrace to fill an unexpired term on the Disability Commission, term to expire February of 2023.
Exactly.
Thank you. I should probably speak to this one. I had several discussions, and that was a month ago, I think. And Sandy Brown changed her mind during the course of our discussions when we talked about what goes into serving on the Disability Commission. And she called me back and said she thought she wasn't ready for it. So, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Vote passes unanimously. And finally, from the docket of June 22nd, 2021, and the public hearing was July 20th, 2021, I entertain a motion to waive the following fees for the construction of a new domestic violence shelter in the city. The waiving of fees by the city will meet requirements of DHCD grants that the host community also provide funding or in-kind support. And the fees are the building permit, the mechanical 35%, the electric 35%, the plumbing 35%, the gas HVAC 35%, the health department water to service permit, crosswater survey fee, backhoe testing, and street opening fee. Do I have a second?
Second. Second.
We obviously can't talk about where this might be occurring, but a domestic violence shelter in the city is absolutely essential.
So this isn't on an ongoing project? You said you have no location for this at the time?
Well, we can't say what the location is. Sorry.
No, we
For the
can't.
women's protection.
We can't reveal
okay.
it.
Yeah, yes.
And
okay.
so I don't even know where the location
Yeah.
is. And if I knew, I would officially say I don't.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
All right, I understand
That's
that.
what it's all about. Is there any discussion on the motion, however?
Do you have any idea what the cost is to the city?
Actually, I don't.
Okay.
I don't, and per my personal reason is, I think this is an extremely important thing.
Well, I think it is too, but we just discussed one with a figure to it, so I was just curious
No,
what the
honestly
figure
don't.
was. Okay.
So, are we ready for a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Vote passes 3-0. And I would call for an adjournment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 And that concludes the business of the Personnel, Veteran, and Human Services Committee. And thank you, Heather, for coming. And you can stay if you choose, but you are welcome to leave. It is fine. Thank you.
Vice President Jackson, may I go? Because okay, thank you. I'd like to call the Transportation and Traffic Committee to order at 8:10. Present is myself and Council Reynolds. Good evening, Council Reynolds. I just plan on bringing forth one item this evening, Council Reynolds, pertaining to the Don't Block the Box intersection. The public hearing was held on Tuesday. Just for your information, in terms of the other two items, the stop sign and the no parking to corner, the issues on Extension Street in Frank Mossberg, I have to wait till those can get before the Traffic Study Commission, and they do not meet again till September. All right, and then the other issue on the commercial vehicle parking, I think that's going to require a little bit more discussion than I thought we should get into tonight. So I'm going to read the proposed ordinance in full, and then I'll ask for discussion and a vote. Okay, good. All right, thank you. So I guess I'll read the whole thing. From the docket of June 1st, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve the following ordinance amendment. Amending Chapter 10 of the revised ordinances by adding 10-4.19, obstructing traffic and do not block the box intersections. 1. Except in the case of an accident or emergency or in compliance with law or the direction of a police officer or official traffic control device, it shall be unlawful for any driver to obstruct or impede other lawful vehicle or pedestrian traffic on any street, road, or way. Obstructing or impeding traffic shall include, but not be limited to, parking or stopping any motor vehicle on any street, road, way, lot, or alley, or in any other location so as to obstruct or impede other lawful vehicle or pedestrian traffic on any street, road, way, lot, or alley, or the lawful use of any street, crossing, intersection, crosswalk, alley entrance, or any on-street or off-street parking space. Paragraph 2, except in the case of an accident or emergency or in compliance with law or the direction of a police officer or other traffic control device, it shall be unlawful for any driver to park, stop, or otherwise operate a motor vehicle in a manner that, small i, causes or creates gridlock upon any street, road, or way, or entrance to a street, road, or way, or exit onto a street, road, or way, or a commercial driveway leading to or exiting onto a street, road, or way. 2. Prevents cross-traffic movement, obstructs or impedes traffic, or creates or causes a hazard by blocking a travel lane, crosswalk, or bike lane. 3. The chief of police or his or her designee is hereby authorized to determine and designate by proper signs street locations not exceeding 100 feet in length in which the stopping or parking of vehicles would obstruct traffic or otherwise create an especially hazardous condition or cause unusual delay to traffic. When official signs are erected at hazardous or congested places as authorized herein, no person shall stop or park a vehicle in any such designated place. 4. No driver of a motor vehicle shall cross or enter an intersection which it is unable to proceed through without stopping and thereby blocking vehicles from traveling in a free direction. A green light is no defense to blocking an intersection. Little I. Pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 89, Section 9, the City of Attleboro has designated certain intersections as don't block the box intersections with appropriate signage and striping provided. Drivers violating the provisions of this sections in intersections so designated shall be punished by a fine not to exceed $150 for each offense. 5. Except for offenses described in subsection 4I, the fine for violation of the section shall be $55 for each offense.
Second.
Any comment, discussion, Council Reynolds?
No, I think it's a great, a great ordinance. People constantly go through green lights and block, traffic coming from other sites that now have the green light, and the people in the middle have a red light. So it's perfect to be able to find these people.
Agreed. Anybody else care to comment? Councilor Delacio?
Thank you, Councilor DeSimone. I had the opportunity yesterday to speak with the police chief, to get a little more understanding of exactly what it is, and I think it's more than just, I know he used the Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
And I think just for that alone, it's worth it, because the folks on Angeline have been through a lot over the last several years. Secondly, I was in the drive-through line on the county, one of the coffee shops on County Street the other day, and was horrified when it was my turn. Someone jumps in front of us, kind of parks in diagonally between me and the other car, and just waited. If you sit there and you look, it's dangerous. So I think this will help to at least bring a little more public safety in these situations, which I think is really needed. So I'll support this, and I think you're seeing this more and more in other communities as well.
Agreed. Thank you, Councilor Delacio. Anyone else got a comment? All right, Councilor Reynolds, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. That's all I have for this evening, Councilor Reynolds. Anything else you care to discuss at this point?
Not at the time. No,
All right, very
thank you,
good.
though.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned at 8:16.
You want me to I'd like to call the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee to order at 8:16. I have a few to read for Rick, who's not here. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve the expenditure of the FY 2022 Community Development Block Grant for approximately $12,000 received by the Recreation Youth Center Program, and approve any future grant amendments.
Second.
This speaks for itself. It's just the block grant for $12,000, nothing matching. Does anybody have any questions?
No, it's pretty obvious.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $42,709.20 from account 112410000-578380, Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital, to account 163010005870331, Recreation purchase of a pickup, to purchase a new Ford 350 pickup truck with an 8-foot snowplow and two-way radio and city seal.
Second.
So I spoke to Dennis Walsh, and this one is to replace their old truck that they got off surplus 6 years ago from the police department. So it was used then 6 years ago. They drove it for 6 years, so they're kind of in a bad way for it. And I think, let's see. Yeah, so that's the one that was off surplus. Does anybody else have any questions?
Just a little history. The one that they got from the police department was an Expedition, not a pickup truck. So wisely, Dennis has got a pickup truck to replace that Expedition, so it can be used multifaceted.
Plow and everything.
It's got the plow. It can pick up as a pickup truck can, with the Exhibition really couldn't. So
Right.
it's replacing it with a much more versatile unit.
I think they're requiring them to do that now when they get a new truck, that it has to be capable to have a plow. I feel like Dennis might have said that.
Not necessarily, Laura. They could have got something else, but it's advantageous the way this one was ordered.
Excellent.
And it's replacing a unit that didn't have a plow.
Right.
So much more versatile. Good thinking on Dennis's part.
Yep, as always. Anybody else?
They're down at least one vehicle at the moment, I think.
Yeah, this one has been off for a few months. Like,
Right.
they haven't been driving it because it's not in good shape.
That's all I want to make that point.
Any other questions? Oh, hi, Kate. Oh, I'm sorry, Jay.
Can I go?
Yes.
Okay. So I do know that these have all been on the capital improvement plans for quite some time too. And he's been put off and put off and put off and put off. And the mayor did say to him, you know what, come to me at the the end of the fiscal year, the beginning of the new fiscal year, he said, we'll see what we can do. So it's good to know that he did listen to the mayor, and Dennis is very well organized, and he's been very patient, so it's well overdue.
Agree.
Thank you, and I'll almost verbatim what Kate was going to say, but what I'll add then is just Dennis doesn't ask for anything unless he truly needs it. He's really, in a lot of areas, he's done a lot of duct tape and bubble gum, and I think Dennis should be commended for that, and I support all 6 of these.
Good. Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of August 17, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $66,126.66 from account 1124100057838 Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account 1630100058769 Recreation purchase of a dump truck to purchase a new Ford F-350 dump body with a diesel engine and 9-foot snowplow to replace a 2003 F-350 that was taken off the road in March.
Second.
So this one, I actually have a list of everything that's wrong with it. I'll give you a couple bullets if anybody's interested. It has an oil leak. It's probably the head gaskets, pinion seal, and the rear is leaking. Transmission lines are leaking. Hydraulic supply line is leaking. Right rear tire is bad. Front and rear shocks are bad. Bad steering stabilizer. Upper and lower ball joints have play. Rocker panels are rusted and rotted through. Holes in the dump truck body floor. Sides of the dump truck have rotted holes. Tailgate is rotted through.
Sounds like a DPW truck.
And the tailpipe hanger is broken. Well, DPW has some new stuff, so.
I know. That's good.
So that's a little laundry list of what's wrong with what this one's replacing. Does anybody have any questions on this one?
This is a no-brainer.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. From the docket of August 17, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $25,340 from account 1124100057838 Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account 163010005844029 Recreation Outdoor Facility Improvements for funds to replace the basketball court at Conley Playground.
Second.
So this one, I assume everybody probably remembers all the pictures that Dennis showed us when he was here of all the basketball courts that are in rough shape. And he's been doing the best he can with everything. It's been on CIP for a while, so I don't know if anybody has any questions on this one.
Just a comment, Laura. That's a well-used little playground down there. It serves the neighborhood fantastic.
Thank you.
And the court
all of our basketball courts are
in tough shape, but that one serves a real compact neighborhood, and it gets a lot of use.
I agree.
So it's needed, and it's money well spent.
Agreed.
So I would just add that I was down there, parked at Cumberland. That's Cumberland, right? That is right next to it, the street. And I met 3 kids who wanted to play basketball, and they told me that they had been dribbling, and the ball would just go sideways when it hits the cracks. So they dribble between the cracks.
We'll see if we can fix that up for them. Anybody else have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of August 17, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $17,500 from account 1124100057838 Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account 1630100058436 Recreation Crack Seal Asphalt to perform crack fill and sealing on various asphalt basketball surfaces.
Second.
So this is just all the basketball courts. He's going to go around to all the basketball courts and seal everything up and do the best he can with what we're giving him for this. So this is going to cover all of them that need it.
That'd be great.
Does anybody have any questions?
I happened to go on one of the crack tours with Dennis, so I can personally attest. But I was just going to say that I think after the year that the kids have had, to have the opportunity to go to places where they can play and enjoy safely and thoroughly is always important, but is perhaps extra important right now.
Agree.
I can't help but say this, excuse me. I didn't know Dennis gave crack tours. Sorry, I heard you.
He is very accommodating, so, you know.
Oh, goodness.
Anybody else?
Yes, it is.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And I have one more. From the docket of August 17, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $36,200 from account 11241000578-380 Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account 163-01000-584029 Recreation Outdoor Facility Improvements for the replacement of the basketball court at Ponson Hewitt Recreation Facility.
Second.
Thank you.
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I can't help it. Dennis is probably at home right now, rolling around.
Actually, I think he might be away.
So then this is one of the ones where he's not working. So when he comes back to work, everybody's going to say you have to go watch the council meeting.
I believe he was headed out on vacation as of noon yesterday. So
have fun.
I'm sure he'll hear about it though. Does anybody have any questions about this one?
Do not.
Same thing. It's in rough shape.
Yes, it is.
Ditto of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And that's all for capital improvements and city development. I'd like to call for an adjournment at 8:26, please.
Oh, excuse me for a minute. Can I ask something?
I'm sorry,
more?
Sarah. Did you raise your hand? I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm just asking because I know I spoke to Dennis before he went on vacation, and maybe I just assumed it was in that.
No, it's not. It's in Kate's.
The one. They're in Kate, the two I'm looking for?
Yeah. They're in Kate.
I think everything Dennis asked for is deserving, but I thought these were in there too. So, okay,
No,
thank
so
you.
I did the same thing. They're in Counselor Jackson's.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Did you get a second on your adjournment?
Oh, did I?
I'll second.
Second.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned at 8:27.
I'd like to call the Public Works Committee to order at 8:27. I am going to bring out all the motions that I had received on Tuesday night this evening. So from the docket of August 17, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $10,000 from account 6000-578300 Wastewater Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 6000-574010 Wastewater Enterprise Fund Insurance for an increase in premiums for fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Dolan. This one, as well as the water one that's coming down, these premiums had gone up, but they didn't find out till after the budget had closed. These particular insurances cover the auto insurance, the general liability insurance, the buildings, and the professional liability. This isn't anything to do with health insurance. Any questions? Comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $42,500 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1630100-589041 Recreation Asphalt Walkway for the replacement of the asphalt walking path around Lee's Pond at the South Attleboro Veterans Memorial Park.
Second.
Thank you. So, in speaking with Mr. Walsh yesterday, after you, Councilor Dolan, this unfortunately was never on the CIP because they kept patching it up and they just thought they could continue to do so. This is the only the city's walking pathway in South Attleboro itself. So, and it's in dire need to be replaced. Otherwise, if it wasn't, Dennis would just go around and have his guys, his staff, just tend to it themselves and just keep patching it, but the winter was not good to this particular path. And while I'm talking about this is at Lee's Pond, and I'll bet you didn't know that Lee's Pond is not Lee''S. It actually was donated by a family, and her name was Alice Lees, and it's Lees, in 1945. I always thought it was just like the Lee family, you know, like Judge Lee, like it's Lee with apostrophe S. Nope, it's Lees. And Dennis gave me that little tidbit of information yesterday. Just leave it to him. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Oh, yes, please, Sarah, sorry.
So, yeah, I just want to say that even though this wasn't on the SIP, it's really important. I mean, this is the place that everybody in South Attleboro uses for a walking route. It's off the roadway and whatnot, and it really is dangerous. So I'd appreciate if it gets a full vote.
Thank you. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $9,100 from account 1124100-5783000 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1630100-585012 Recreation New Playground Equipment to replace the South Attleboro Veterans Memorial Park slide, which has cracks.
Second.
Thank you. So Dennis had gone out and gotten 2 quotes, and it's just no longer safe for the children. It's a one-piece slide that is 8 feet high, but he can't just replace the section that's cracked. He has to replace the whole thing. And this is, again, the only recreational area in South Attleboro.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions? Sarah, go ahead. Sorry. Thank you.
Quickly, I'll say that it's one of those that if you stepped on a section of it, it would pop up. Obviously kids can't use it. Both Dennis and I thought the price for these it's just outrageous, but it is what it is, and it does need to be replaced.
We don't want anybody to get a little crack in their bum.
They would actually really hurt themselves.
Yeah, I
And
know.
they can go on the crack tour.
Yeah, it's right at the end of the slide, and it could really cut their leg up too if you were coming down on that. It's just inappropriate.
It is crazy how much it does cost, so that's ridiculous. But we'll replace it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $9,491 from account 6100-578300 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 6100-574010 Water Enterprise Fund Insurance for an increase in insurance premiums for fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Thank you. This goes dittos to the wastewater as well. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. From the docket of August 17th, I entertain a motion to transfer $1,000 from account 6100-578300 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 6100-576010 Water Enterprise Fund claims for unanticipated claims for fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Here's my next page. Right here. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to authorize the payment of a fiscal year 21 invoice to U.S. Bank National Association of $336 for the Park and Forestry Department. There are sufficient funds in Fund 2607 to pay this bill.
Second.
Thank you. Simple enough. Anybody have any comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And that concludes the business for the Public Works Committee. I'd like to ask for an adjournment. Oh, all those in favor?
Second.
Thank you.
Second, yes.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We are adjourned at 8:34. Thank you.
I'd like to call Budget and Appropriations to order at 8:34. I have 3 quick motions. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $5.15 from account 112-11000-542010 Mayor Supplies Office to account 112-11000-578020 Mayor bills from previous years in order to pay in fiscal 21 invoice to WB Mason.
Second.
Counselor Cobus. I have no comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to authorize the payment of a fiscal 21 solid waste department for $1,166 to Western Oil. There is sufficient money in Fund 2604 to pay this bill.
Second.
Thank you. Yeah, again, this is to just authorize the payment of, I believe this is for oil, the destruction and the handling of used oil. So this is just to authorize the payment.
No questions.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Finally, from the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $75 from account 1124100-534210 citywide postage to account 1124100-578020 citywide bills from previous year in order to pay a fiscal 21 invoice to FedEx.
Second.
Thank you. I have no comments on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. I'd call for an adjournment at 8:36.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:36. Thank you.
Thank you. I call Zoning and Land Use Committee to order at 8:36. I have one item on the docket tonight from the docket of July 20th, 2021. I entertain a motion to approve the waiving of $100,000 of the building permit fee associated with the development at 37 Union Street.
Second.
Motion's in order. With this particular one, I had not planned to bring it out tonight. We just completed the public hearing, and I'm open to discussions and potentially rescinding your second President Cooper if we decide we're not ready to bring this out. But with regard to this item, my questions were answered, and I know they're on sort of a tight timeline, and if we can bring it out, I'd like to. But if people have reservations, and I'll definitely open it up to the full council to have a discussion, I'm happy to discuss that. And Councilor Delicio, I see you. Do you have something before I have a couple other comments? But
Oh, no, that's fine.
proceed. Okay. For me personally, I am in favor of this. I think the project's good for the city. We've all talked about needing affordable housing, trying to keep Attleboro affordable. I think that's good. Every politician in Attleboro has talked about revitalizing downtown for the last 40 years. So this helps there. And I applaud Eliza for taking on this project. The two reservations I had, and the two big concerns that I had coming into tonight, that frankly had me questioning how I would vote. One was the potential for the precedent, and Councilor Delicio, I agree with it. That was certainly a concern for me. We heard the mayor talk about that this will not set a precedent. I think the project's important enough, and I was comfortable with the mayor's answer with regard to this. The second big question that I had with regard to this was whether or not this would be within the TOD and then fall under the district improvement financing, which, remember, that was the program we approved a while ago that said if people invest money within the TOD region, then the tax revenue that would come out of that. So for this particular property, it's assessed at $386,000. I just looked up the assessment. The understanding is that will go up, and as a result, the city will receive quite a bit more money. I haven't done the math, but I assume we'll receive more than $100,000 year over year as a result of that increase. If this had fallen within the TOD, that increased tax revenue that would come onto the levy would need to be directed towards district improvements, building the parking structure and whatnot. As Ms. Fierick mentioned, this falls a couple blocks outside of the TOD, so that levy, that revenue would be realized by us and be able to be spent by the city. So that concern for me was alleviated. So So for me, I'm in favor of this, and if we can move forward tonight, I'd like to. But I'm also open to hearing other concerns, or if people have additional questions and want to hold off on this. I'm comfortable doing that. But if we can move forward tonight, I'd like to. And so I will open it up to Councilor Delissio first.
Thank you, Councilor Corbis. Yeah, I came in here leaning heavy no. The presentation helped me. I'm looking at it a little bit differently. The question of precedent came up from several different people, so that's why I asked that. The fact that the mayor said, well, it's not going to set precedent because I said so, that's kind of scary. I don't know that that's necessarily the truth because Mayor Hero won't always be here. The other thing is, we did ask Jack for some information. I am feeling better about the assessed value because I thank President Cooper for bringing that up. I think that's a good point. I just think if we've asked Jack to get information and then to vote on it, less than an hour after closing the public hearing, I'd like to digest it a little more. I still have a couple additional questions, but that's up to you and President Cooper at this point.
President Cooper?
So I too had initial reservations about just because it may not set precedent doesn't mean people aren't going to ask, right? So, and to Jay's point, Mayor Hero won't be the mayor forever, so that's his position, but that doesn't mean the next mayor or the mayor after that would have the same position. What really, if I hadn't received the email that I received today regarding HDIP funding, challenges across the Commonwealth, and Catherine hinted to it a little bit today. There's some real risk with some other projects in the city, and with those cuts, if they couldn't get any additional money to fill the gap of $100,000, that project may or may not be at risk, right? I mean, the other investors would have to decide if they sprinkled that $100,000 around the group of them, what impact that they would have, but it becomes a maximum for everyone. I think my other concern in this was we the city gave CDBG money for that project to the tune of $295,000 with the same sort of mentality that it was of benefit and it was affordable housing and everything they shared tonight. So I was initially, and I did in fairness to the mayor, I did talk to the mayor about, after Councilor DeSimone and I talked about it, I did talk to the mayor about, well, could we do other things for this project? Could the city do the sewer connections, the water connections, the sidewalks around, the signage for their buildings? He was pulling at everything, and that work would have an impact to city services. There would be a direct impact if the DPW is putting sidewalks all the way down Union Street and around the corner, and it's not a planned project. That's a big impact to the other things that they can do across the city. I don't know if this project needs that much sidewalk, but those were the things we thought about, or he talked to me about after I brought up some initial concerns. So, but I think we do have to be careful with these types of things because I don't know that we've ever waived such a large amount of building permit fees if it wasn't to a city project itself, or to a quasi agency like the Attleboro Redevelopment Authority. So, and I don't even know that we've waived those fees for the air. I'd have to really think about that. But it's an opportunity for the city to rehab. One thing I would have liked to have asked at the time that I didn't think of till I'm speaking out loud right now was, what's their cadence for the rest of the project? Was an important question to ask. But what I would say is if they come back to ask, to I think your point during the public hearing, for additional money, I won't be on this council because I won't be doing it in 6 months from now, but I can tell you if they do, I'll be sitting out there to talk about it. Because I can't, at some point, you can only give, just like they're investors, the city can only give so much, and we're going to be at, $395, almost $400,000. And so I will support it, but I really don't think I will in the next phase of this. Again, I won't be here, but I'll be here because I just think it's important to, at some point, some of these projects have to be able to stand up on their own. That's a huge one. There's a lot to do there. So they are getting some historical credits, and they're going to maintain and keep the look and feel of the building, and I appreciate the additional expense for that too. So I will support it, and I wish them well on this project. And what I would also like to add, and it'll be my final comment, is I don't want to waive the fees for this building. I don't want to waive $200,000 worth of building permit fees, and then it takes them another year to do it, and steel comes down and lumber comes down, and then we waived it for that reason to help this project, and then we're saying we didn't, maybe we didn't have to do that. So while time is of the essence on our part to waive the fees, time is of the essence on theirs to get this project moving.
Agreed.
And if it's 4 or 5 months from now, it'll probably be my parting gift is to rescind the vote to grant the $100,000 worth of relief. I mean, they got to move the project. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
That all makes sense, and I agree with you, and I'm also of the opinion that if they were to come back again a year from now, then we can't do anything. I'll finish off with my committee and then open it up to the rest of the council.
Thank you, John. Yeah, so President Cooper brings up a lot of great points. There's been times where I've sat in this chair and thought one thing and then heard a point. I'll be willing to take a gamble on this one. But I think I stand with Mark, I stand with Todd, where the next one maybe not. The other concern I have, and it's a real concern, is they still have a $2.2 million deficit that they're concerned. If we waive these fees and they don't get the project done, we're going to still be out some money. So I think it's potentially, if they're not able to finish the project and get the full funding. But time is of the essence. This is the problem when or an issue that could be, which arises when we meet, only once each month in the summer. These things usually don't come up in the summer, but I will support this project, but be keeping an eye on it.
Thank you. Councilor DeSimone.
Thank you, Councilor Kobus. And thank you for entertaining the possibility of this coming out of your committee tonight, because I do think time is important. I think that's been indicated. But as President Cooper said, as soon as this came down, I was like, oh. So I was on the phone with the mayor the next day. I called Catherine Farrick, reached out to Gary. I flipped and I flopped. I went back and forth. But the thing that is driving me to support this is because of the nature of the mix of the housing. I think it's super important to the city that we have this kind of affordable housing. I'm amazed that they're actually going to have apartments in the $600 and $700 range. That is huge. I have all of the concerns that you all have addressed, but because our economic development coordinator has given her expertise and her opinion in support of it, because the mayor has taken the time to come down and reiterate, his support of it, because the developer made what I think is a good presentation, I'm going to take the gamble, as Councilor Delisio said, and support it, because I think it would be absolutely awesome if they can do this. My concern with precedent is somewhat countered by the fact that ultimately this body has jurisdiction. The mayor can offer whatever the mayor may be inclined to offer, but it comes here for approval. So the precedent may be set upstairs, doesn't have to be set down here. And I have thoughts about that going forward that I want to run by the president. But I thank you for bringing it out tonight, and I hope it is voted out and passed by the council for all the reasons we said.
Thank you, Councilor DeSimone, and great points about the precedent. Councilor Blair and then Councilor Dolan.
I still have reservations. They came before us and told us financial wasn't a problem. We come up with that block grant money. So I know cost of everything is going up, but we're still financing a non-public project. And to to me, that raises a little irritation with me. It's not a charitable project, it's a money-making project, and the owner is deferred 500,000, was that the? But it says deferred. That word deferred means he's gonna get it eventually. So, could he afford to defer another 100,000 and get it eventually? That's just a question, but that's a word, deferred. That 500 was deferred. That means eventually he's going to get it. So
Thank you.
There, huh?
Go ahead. Sorry.
That came to mind when I heard that word deferred.
It's fair, Councilor Blair. And to be clear, we're waiving the building fees, not giving them, directly giving them any funding.
It's $100,000, Todd, no matter how you look at it.
Fair.
It's $100,000. No matter how you cut the cake, it's still, the cake's cut, and there's $100,000 piece taken out. And like I said, I was concerned when I heard the word deferred to his kickback into this so they can get the project going along. So if he can afford to defer 500, maybe he could afford to defer 600 to keep the project going.
Fair.
Simple question that makes sense as far as I can. It's common sense.
Thank you.
Think about that.
Councilor Dolan?
So, since Councilor DeSimone took every point that I had, I absolutely support it. I will support it tonight. The biggest thing to me is the affordable housing. I mean, the fact that, like Councilor DeSimone said, the rents. I mean, people are screaming in the city for it, and we need it desperately. And if they're going to do it with the next building, even better. So I think it's absolutely worth our $100,000, and for the future tax revenue, and then for the future, their phase. And I wish I knew the cadence as well for phase 2 and phase 3, because I cannot wait to see that corner with the Chinese restaurant, well, what used to be, gone and new and pretty and thriving. So development in this area has been a long time coming. So I absolutely support it. I'm thrilled about the mix of the rents. So I hope everybody supports it, and like we know, time is of the essence. So, and again, with Kathleen, with Council DeSimone's point, the precedence thing, they have to come to whoever's going to be here at that point. So they can ask all they want, because if this was a market value place, there's no way I would be voting for it. So that concludes my comments. Thank you.
I agree with everything, Councilor Dolan. Councilor Waterman, then Councilor Jackson.
Most of what I would say has been said. If this was a market apartment or complex, I would not be voting for this. The reason that I'm voting mostly is to help the families of Attleboro. Our $100,000 is an investment to assist them to affordable housing. That's how I view it. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Councilor Waterman. Councilor Jackson?
My concern is that thank you, Councilor Kobus. My concern is the fact that, and Councilor Dolan, I'm glad you asked that, but we really didn't get a straight answer. The next phase, we don't know if it's going to actually be a workforce housing. And you have 59 units in the first one, and if you looked at the $600 that they can pay for rent, but there's only 8 units. Right. So how many?
The majority was median, though. If you saw the 39.
I did see that. Yeah, I wrote it down. That concerned me that she didn't give you a straight answer on that one. Like they don't know already. It's not like it's going to change. That Attleboro is desperate. We already know that we're going to need more out of that building. So I'm hoping that they really do look and say, okay, so how are they doing now? Now that we just gave them 8 units. We need more than that for the lower income and for the medium income. And the other thing that concerned me is that building has been sitting, and we all want the whole downtown to look pretty again and look nice. That building has been vacant and ugly and deteriorating for years. It's nice to have the Kidstown building down. And the gentleman that owns the property. So waiting a year, because I believe that all this, these higher fees for lumber and steel and everything, I really believe a year from now it's not going to be like this. I think it's going to drop dramatically back, maybe not back to the way that it was before the pandemic started, but I think it's going to drop. So yeah, I'm on the fence, because just letting it sit there dormant for another year, like it always has been, he's still going to own the property, he's still going to pay his taxes, and I don't know. I'm still thinking about it right now. That's where I'm at. I'm stuck.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson. Anybody else with comments?
Bless you.
Councilor Blair.
Suggestion. I know Kate's on the fence. I'm definitely not even to the top of the fence, so if we had a little bit more time to think about it, get some questions answered, that deferral question I brought up, it might be advantageous to get a full vote in favor if we were able to sit on it a little bit.
Thank you, Councilor Blair. It's a great comment where we're in the summer months and they're trying to break ground and start in September. I think I'd like to move forward if the committee is comfortable doing so. And I'm looking to Councilor Delicio and President Cooper.
I am, but I think, if I may, before we do that, we could, to Vice President Jackson's point, I want to try to unstick you a little bit. If it sits there for a year, I don't think we understand the impact to all the other incremental financing that they have to use, right? So I think the value would go from, what'd you say it was, 386 today to, if they're investing $28 million to build it out, it's got to be way north of that for an assessed value. It's not the whole parcel; it's that piece at 37. And I think that the difference in what got me unstuck was the difference. I don't know what the amount is, but I'm certain it's more than $100,000 in 13 months to the tax rolls. It's worth it to me than to have a delay and have their team of investors be maxed out. He might not it might not be worth the person to go to 600,000 from 500. He might have started at 350 and went to 5 because they couldn't get any more. We don't know the details of it. So I'm not, and I'm worried about the other projects in the city based on the HDIP funding cuts that were at $30 million, that went to $15 million, that just got cut to 10. So there's a real risk that some of those other HDIP projects, not only in the city of Attleboro, across the Commonwealth, that just, quite frankly, the mathematics don't work, and they're not going to get done. So I was really on the fence about it. I mean, Councilor DeSimone and I, not to put you on the spot, but we talked for half an hour about it, 20 minutes to half an hour about it going out the night it came in. And I wouldn't say push hard, but I pushed the mayor to think about alternatives to $100,000, like I said earlier, around other things that we could offer the developer to offset some other costs somewhere else. So I think it makes up the $100,000 in the difference in taxes, and that really was the only thing that pushed me over the edge, because I'm not so, I think they're doing a great thing with affordable housing, but I don't think it's enough. But that's my own personal opinion. And that they need to finance their project with what they can, the financing that they're getting. But she did say she has a commitment from Citizens Bank. She has the commitment for the historical credits. I would just hate to see them not get it kicked off in September and have some other delay, or have another project that the developer could get started first before ours. That's been going on since 2018. I think when they came and did the CDBG money, they said a lot of this was they prefaced that with that it needed all these other tax credits in order to make it happen. That this was a very expensive project to keep the building. In fact, I think it was this project that said, quite frankly, it would be easier to just tear the building down and start over again. But they chose not to do that. So I hope I unstuck you. I don't really want to, unless we didn't think, I don't want it to not to pass. If it did, we could go through the reconsideration process, I suppose, but that would also delay things. So I'm okay voting it out. I think September's pretty right around the corner.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you, President Cooper. Councilor Delizio?
So really what's got me leaning towards voting it out right now, and I will support it, as I said, is, as President Cooper said, the tax revenue. I think that'll be a return. Hopefully that'll be a return on the investment. But they did sit here, and when they first brought forward the project, they said this is all contingent on state funds, which that kind of was a red flag for me at the time. I'm not confident that we'll see a phase 2 and a phase 3. I'm not. But if we can at least get to phase 1, get the ball started, it's a $28 million project. The return on investment should be there. So for those reasons, I'll say yes.
Thank you. Any other comments before we vote? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. That concludes the business for the Zoning Land Use Committee. Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 9:02.
License committee is canceled tonight.
You're muted, Sarah.
Thank you, Kate. I'd like to call the City Property and Claims Committee to order at 9:02. And I have 5 items on the docket. So from the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to declare the following Water Department items as surplus and available for disposition. 4 fire hydrants, associated parts and piping, they're in damaged condition. And a 2008 Ford E250 van, VIN number 1FTNE24L68DA 09457, and it's in poor condition.
Second.
I can't hear you, Pete.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to declare the following police department items as surplus and available for disposition. A 2011 Ford Crown Vic, VIN number 1FAB P7B V5B X176445. It's got 83,746 miles on it, and it's in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. Again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to accept $200 in Ciabra gift cards from the Healthy Lifestyle Alliance to the Health Department of Attleboro.
Second.
Thank you. Again, self-explanatory. Any questions or concerns?
Council Reynolds?
Yes?
May I, just for the record, if this is voted out, I'm going to be abstaining on the vote before the full council because I am the co-chair of the Healthy Lifestyle Alliance, so.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. Any others?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That motion passes. The docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to accept the generous donation of a Birds of Paradise sculpture given to Caper Park Zoom. Do they mean zoo?
Yes.
Okay. From Emerson Adjusting and Reporting Services with an estimated value of $8,000. This is a really nice donation, and I think we should be really thankful for it. Any other concerns, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
I can't hear you guys. I heard one aye, so.
Aye.
All right, all those, that motion passes because I said aye too. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to accept the donation of 12 computers to the Attleboro Public Library from Sensata Technologies with an estimated value of $6,000.
Second.
Thank you. Again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think it's a great donation, a nice gift, and I'm going to vote yes on this. Any other concerns or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Can't hear you.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. And that is all the business City Property and Claims Committee has this evening. So I would like to call for an adjournment at 9:06 p.m.
Second.
Thank you. So we are, all those in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned at 9:06 p.m.
Who's left? Just ordinance. No, I don't think she has anything. She doesn't. So,
Cancel?
yes.
Okay, so the ordinances, elections, and legislative, ordinances, elections, and legislative matters committee meeting is canceled for this evening.
Thank you.
Great.
All right. We are ready.
We gotta go back to signing our ordinances.
Yes, we do. Yep,
We're going to take a couple minutes break, Coop?
we can do that.
Thank you.
Okay, I apologize. I think I forgot to move to adjourn, so my apologies. Somebody call me out, because I'm getting in a bad habit, so, sorry. Just let me know. I think I'm in the habit of just closing the meeting myself. So I apologize for that.
I think it's because Peter was fast asleep
Well, I
next
think
to
too, you were slightly caught off guard. I apologize. I meant to tell you that Council Holmes wasn't coming before the meeting started, and I got here late myself, so.
No, you canceled. There was nothing to,
There was nothing to
adjourn.
Nothing to
You're
adjourn.
good.
You were good.
Okay, all right,
If you don't open it, you don't adjourn.
okay, all right. Well, no, I meant on my meeting, on my committee meeting.
Oh, you didn't adjourn your
No, I
meeting?
didn't move to adjourn.
You
I
mean
just-
8 hours ago?
Yeah, whatever that was.
I'm sure I've
I
been-
just adjourned without.
We're all
without
just talking
putting
about
to
it
vote.
back.
So much for 8:15, huh?
Yeah.
If we could cancel time moving on.
Yeah.
What's that? Yes.
Oh, he's like, thanks for telling me.
I know. To call this meeting of the Municipal Council back to order at 9:10. Mr. Withers, would you kindly do a roll call attendance?
Certainly will.
Beginning with Councilor Reynolds, I believe.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Here.
Mr. Cobus.
Here.
Mr. Delicio.
Here.
Mrs. Yes. Mr. Vice President Jackson.
Yes, here.
Okay. Mr. Waterman.
Here.
Ms. DeSimone.
Here.
Mr. Blair.
Here.
President Cooper.
Here.
9, all are present.
Thank you. Moving along to committee reports, we'll start with Councilor Blair.
Thank you, President Cooper. From the docket of 7/22/2021. No, excuse me. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve the expending of funds and any future grant amendments for the FY 2021 Student Aware Fire Education Grant and the FY 2021 Senior Safe Grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for approximately $9,260 to the Attleboro Fire Department.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
No, we just talked about a few minutes ago.
Thank you. Any comments from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Delicio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of August 17th, 2021. I entertain a motion to transfer $26,000 from account 112410000-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to the following: for uniforms and medical exams for 13 firefighters. $16,000 to account 122010000-530104 fire medical consultations, and $10,000 to account 122010000-558310 fire uniforms.
Jackson. Second.
Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
No additional comment.
Thank you. A roll call vote. Any questions from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Mr. Delicio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of August 17th, 2021. I entertain a motion to approve the expending of funds and any future grant amendment for the anticipated FY 21 9/11 training grant from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security for approximately $304,879.01 to the Attleboro Police Department.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
No additional comments this time.
Thank you. Any from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Delicio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
I have no other business this evening. We will request a committee meeting next month at the appropriate time.
Thank you.
All right.
President Cooper, reporting for Traffic and Transportation Committee. I have one item this evening. From the docket of June 1st, 2021, I move to approve the following ordinance amendment. amending Chapter 10 of the revised ordinances by adding Section 10-4.19, obstructing traffic and do not block the box intersections.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
President Cooper, as you, I'm sure, recall, I read the proposed ordinance in its entirety at the committee meeting.
Yep, so we can waive the, waive the reading at this point.
Thank you.
Any additional comments? Seeing none, our roll call vote will begin with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Copus?
Yes.
Mr. Delissio?
Yes.
Vice President Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Cooper?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
President Cooper, that concludes the business of the Traffic and Transportation Committee for this evening. We'd call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Great, thank you. Councilor Waterman.
Reporting from the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to approve the appointment of Heather Whitehead, 1350 Park Street, to fill an unexpired term on the Planning Board, term to expire February 2023.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
Only that I really believe that Mrs. Whitehead will eventually become an excellent member of the planning board. We all grow into these positions. I certainly felt like I needed to grow into it, so she will.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Vice President Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Delissio?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Absent.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ms. Dolan, I'm sorry. Ms.
Yes.
Reynolds? Sorry. Ms.
Yeah.
Dolan? Ms. Dolan?
Dolan, yes.
Sorry, President Cooper?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
it's getting late.
Motion passes.
And from the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to accept a donation of $1,000, $1,000 in Stop and Shop gift cards from VFW Post 115 to the Veterans Office.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
Just a very generous gift.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Seeing none, the roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Vice President Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Delissio?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
President Cooper?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
I move to strike the following from the docket of July 20th, 2021, to strike a motion to confirm the appointment of Sandy Carter Brown, 21 Revere Terrace, to fill an unexpired term on the Disability Commission to expire February 2023.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
Just that this is at the request of Sandy Carter Brown to not take this appointment.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Mr. Delissio?
Yes.
Vice President Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Cooper?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And from the docket of June 22nd, 2021, I entertain a motion to waive the following fees for the construction of a new domestic violence shelter in the city. The waiving of fees by the city will meet requirements of DHCD grants that the host community also provides funding or in-kind support.
Second. Oh, forgive me.
Thank you. I have already read these. Is it necessary to reread?
No.
Okay. This is...
Is there a second?
Second,
Sorry.
Council DeSimone.
We have a
Yep.
second.
Great, thank you. Any additional comments, Councilor Waterman?
I'm just proud to live in a city that will do this and waive these fees and support a domestic violence center.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Seeing none, roll call will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimo.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that concludes the business of the Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee. We'll meet at the next appropriate time.
Great. Thank you. Vice President Jackson.
Thank you, President Cooper. Reporting for the Public Works Committee from the docket of August 17, 2021, I move to transfer $10,000 from the Wastewater Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for Transfer account to the Wastewater Enterprise Fund Insurance account for an increase in premiums for fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Thank you.
The motion is in order. Any additional comments?
No, I don't have any more to add than I just said a short time ago.
Great. A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimo.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of August 17, 2021, I move to transfer $42,500 from the Citywide Reserve Fund for Transfer account to the Recreation Asphalt Walkway for the replacement of the asphalt walking path around Lee's Pond at South Attleboro Veterans Memorial Park.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
Nope, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Great. Any additional from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimo.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of August 17, 2021, I move to transfer $9,100 from the Citywide Reserve Fund for Transfer account to the Recreation New Playground Equipment account to replace the South Attleboro Veterans Memorial Park slide, which has cracks.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. The roll call vote will begin with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Mr. Conti. I'm sorry. Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you.
I
Motion
crossed out
passes.
Mr. DeSimone instead of Mr. Conti on my list. I'm sorry. Having a rough night here.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. From the docket of August 17, 2021, I move to transfer $9,491 from the Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for Transfer account to the Water Enterprise Fund Insurance account for an increase in insurance premiums for fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I do not. Thank you.
Roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Conti. Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Mr. Vice President Jackson.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. I think I got the giggles here. From the docket of August 17, 2021, I move to transfer $1,000 from the Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for Transfer account to the Water Enterprise Fund Claims account for unanticipated claims for fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor
Thank you.
Delissio.
Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I do not.
A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Mr. Delissio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of August 17, 2021, I move to authorize the payment of a fiscal year 21 invoice, excuse me, to U.S. Bank National Association, $336 for the Park and Forestry Department. There are sufficient funds in Fund 2607 to pay this bill.
Second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
I do not.
Thank you. Roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Delisio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, no nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Public Works has no further business this evening, but would like to call for a meeting at the appropriate time next month.
Thank you.
Thank you. Reporting for budget and appropriations, I have three motions from the docket of August 17th, 2021. I move to transfer $5.15 from account Mayor Supplies Office to account Mayor Bills for previous years in order to pay a fiscal 21 invoice to WB Mason.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. Roll call vote will begin with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Cobus.
Yes.
Mr. Delisio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to authorize the payment of a fiscal 21 solid waste department for $1,166 to Western Oil. There's sufficient money in Fund 2604 to pay this bill.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
With who, I'm sorry?
Councilor Blair?
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Delisio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And finally, from the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to transfer $75 from account citywide postage to account citywide bills from previous years in order to pay a fiscal 21 invoice to FedEx.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Mr. Delisio.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. That is all the business for budget and appropriations. Would like to call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Great. Thank you. Let's go.
Thank you. Reporting for Zoning and Land Use Committee. From the docket of July 20th, 2021, I move to approve the waiving of $100,000 of the building permit fee associated with the development at 37 Union Street.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
We discussed it fairly thoroughly during committee and encourage people to support it.
Thank you. Any additional comments from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
No.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
I'm going to have faith in everything you said, Mark. Yes.
Mr. Delisio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 nay.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That concludes the business for the Zoning and Land Use Committee, and I call for committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Reynolds.
Reporting for City Property and Claims Committee, I move to declare the following water department items as surplus and available for disposition, or fire hydrants that are damaged.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional?
Oh, excuse me, I apologize, Mark, there's another one on here. A 2008 Ford E250 van, also in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. A roll call vote will begin with Council Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Clovis,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Conti. I'm sorry, Mr. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
You got Rick on it.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to declare the following police department items as surplus and available for disposition. A 2011 Ford Crown Vic, 83,746 miles. It's in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Clovis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to accept $200 in Ciabra gift cards from the Healthy Lifestyle Alliance to the Health Department of Attleboro.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
Just that Councilor DeSimone is also abstaining.
Thank you. Anything else? Roll call vote will begin with Council Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Clovis,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 abstain.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to accept the generous donation of a Birds of Paradise sculpture given to Capron Park Zoo from Emerson Adjusting and Reporting Services with an estimated value of $8,000.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Clovis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I entertain a motion to accept the donation of 12 computers to the Attleboro Public Library from Sensata Technologies with an estimated value of $6,000.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. Seeing none, roll call vote will begin with Council Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Clovis,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that is all the business that the City Property and Claims Committee has this evening, but I would like to call a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Great. Thank you. Councilor Dolan.
Reporting for License Committee, we have no business this evening. We call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time. And also reporting for capital improvements in city development, I have 6 motions from the docket of August 17th, 2021. I move to approve the expenditure of the FY 2022 Community Development Block Grant for approximately $12,000 received by the Recreation Youth Center program and approve any future grant amendments.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments? A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Delissio,
Yes.
Mr. Clovis,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to transfer $42,709.20 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account Recreation Purchase of Pickup to purchase a new Ford F-350 pickup truck with an 8-foot snowplow, two-way radio, and city seal.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. The roll call vote will begin with Council Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Bellisio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to transfer $66,126.66 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account Recreation purchase of dump truck to purchase a new Ford F-350 dump body with diesel engine and 9-foot snowplow to replace a 2003 F-350 that was taken off the road in March.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Thank you. A roll call vote will begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Bellisio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to transfer $25,340 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account Recreation Outdoor Facility Improvements for funds to replace the basketball court at the Conley Playground.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
I have none.
Roll call vote will begin with Council Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Bellisio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to transfer $17,500 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account Recreation Crack Seal Asphalt to perform crack fill and sealing on various asphalt basketball surfaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional comments?
None.
Seeing none, the roll call vote will begin with Council Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Bellisio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of August 17th, 2021, I move to transfer $36,200 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account Recreation Outdoor Facility Improvements for the replacement of the basketball court at Ponson Hewitt Recreation Facility.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional comments?
No, I have none.
Roll call vote will begin with Council Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Bellisio,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That's all the business we have for capital improvements and city development committee, and we call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. And Council DeSimone, we just call for a committee meeting for ordinances.
Oh, yes, thank you. For ordinances, elections, and legislative matters, we have nothing to report this evening, but would like to call a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Cooper.
At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. A roll call vote will begin with Council Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Cobus,
Yes.
Mr. Bellisio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Waterman,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. We are adjourned at 9:39.
Great.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.